All right. Good afternoon, Dan. Man, what a powerful conversation. I didn't know that talking about chores could be so interesting, but it was a good one.
You just never know where they're going to go. But, the last couple we talked about strategy for antelope and deer and then elk. And so, yeah, we kind of just went to like mental game a little bit, mental toughness, and just making sure you're going into season in the right mindset so you can actually hunt to the best of your abilities.
Yeah. We started by field judging and what we're happy with, and then also negative thought patterns and positive thought patterns. It's just like a great conversation. Then towards the end, like you say, getting your mind right before these hunts and how important it is so you don't get into this death spiral. So yeah, I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. I know we did. So we just thank a couple sponsors for today's show. Those Evolution broadheads, man, you talked me into using them on elk. And you said, Brian, you got tons of energy, and you're going to be fine with your short 26.5-inch draw length, 70 pounds. And boy, were you right. Like, I've killed quite a few bulls since, man. They're performing really good, really accurate broadhead. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, this day and age, we're so blessed to have modern equipment, just bows in general, that they have so much power at our disposal now. And, there's a little bit shorter draw length. I mean, you still have tons of energy. And make the most of it. That's my mentality. Make the most of it. The Evolution hide, you have that nice big cut diameter, 2-inch expandable portion with that fixed blade, 3/4-inch cut as well, and shoot them in the soft spot and enjoy easy recoveries.
Yep. 100%. Then I also want to thank Everly Stock. I couldn't be more impressed with this new E-Mod system. With the mod frame, we're using the Brooks bag. There's a multitude of bags you can use, but I really do believe that Brooks bag. We've got a 7,000 cubic inch and a 3,500 cubic inch, and I think that's the best bag that really fits that pack. I'm using the 7,000, but just couldn't be more impressed with the redesigned hip belt, the load lifters, the spotting scope pouch on the side. Man, that thing is a great pack and going to get a bunch of use from me.
Oh, yeah, lightweight. Complete redesign. It almost doesn't even look like an Everly Stock pack. And so it's exciting because this is big from them, from Everly Stock. It's new. If you've been on the fence about purchasing a new backpack, now is the time. Of all the years, now is the time that you're really going to get great bang for your buck, because this pack is sweet.
Yep, 100%. Make sure to check out everything we're doing at Eastmans. We're recording this in advance. We're trying to get a little ahead here before hunting season. I think this one will come out before hunting season, but I just want to remind you guys to check out the Beyond the Grid episodes. Dan's elk episode is first, and for good reason, man. It just looks like an epic hunt. I haven't watched it yet. It comes out this Saturday. I'm going to watch the entire thing, but I've seen the teaser, I've seen the intro, and it just looks like a once-in-a-lifetime elk hunt and a once-in-a-lifetime bull. Couldn't be a better episode to start off our season, and there could be some other episodes out now. Maybe my deer hunt should be out by now, so check that out. But yeah, just some great episodes on Beyond the Grid.
Yeah, and your elk should be out too, depending on when this drops. Yeah, in August. Yeah, it drops in August. Great big bulls this year. Just awesome. Your great Colorado buck. And make sure you guys hop on to Eastman's Hunting Journal's YouTube channel, or search up Beyond the Grid, Brian Barney, Beyond the Grid, Dan Pickar, Beyond the Grid, Jordan Brashears. We got an elk hunt with him on there this year. So, yeah, great stuff. Some of the best hunts that we've put out, I feel like, with very quality animals. So it's an exciting year for sure.
So exciting, man. Yeah. So yeah, you check out that. Check out the Elk Collective, Deer Collective. You can get like 75% off if you put in the promo code LOB. So it costs you $25 to brush up on your mule deer hunting, your elk hunting, and these courses Dan and I have poured our heart and soul. It's everything we know about hunting mule deer, hunting elk, and it's really a collective of different personalities and how they do it. So make sure to check that out and take advantage. $25 is nothing to further your learning curve and give yourself a better chance at success this season.
Yeah, and we're adding a bunch of new content this summer, a new section called The Breakdown, where we're talking about specific hunts that are Beyond the Grid episodes, but also, what exactly were we doing? What was going through our mind? What was our thought process on approaching, bucks or bulls or whatever video that we're breaking down, and which ultimately led to success. And I think those are the types of videos and the type of content that is going to help the viewer the most to really just give them visuals so they can apply that to their own hunts. So I'm excited about content like that because I think it's powerful.
Yeah, you came up with the idea, but yeah, I don't think there's a more powerful tip or tactic that you could pick up than stepping inside our own minds during the hunt, why we stalked that, what the wind was doing, why we made this move, why we held back. I just think that's such a great idea and such a great teaching and learning tool. So yeah, check that out. It's on the Elk Collective, Deer Collective, promo code LOB. And check out the magazines, other podcasts, everything else we're working on. And I think that's the bulk of it. So man, let's get into this episode.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Levels good?
Yeah, levels are perfect. Well, another podcast, man. We got a couple good ones yesterday. We'll see if we can follow it up.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I bet we can.
Yeah, usually me and you just get talking bow hunting, and it usually turns into a good conversation. That's whether we're recording or not. Like, we just went out and we were looking at some of your bulls in here, like you have them in the Eastmans office. And that one you killed last year was just such a monster, man. He's got so much mass and just has it all. Has that big top end that just lights my soul on fire. But yeah, we got him down from the wall and able to hold him. And it really gives you like this appreciation for him when you can get him down and hold him. You got him Euro mounted out there. And you got quite the collection of bulls, man.
Yeah, it's been several months since I've actually held them, but it's just one of those bulls that when you hold them in your hands, you're just, in awe. You're like, man, just the density, the heaviness is crazy.
So crazy, man. Yeah, so heavy. Yeah, looking at that, and then you've got a couple mounts. Your last season was so epic. Killed your biggest bull to date, and then also that wide 7. That was last year, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
That was 2022.
Oh, you're right. And then the 6x7 was last year. 2023. Which one was 2024? The big one.
The big 6
okay,
that we
right.
held.
I'm missing a year in there. I forget.
And I didn't kill a bull in Wyoming last year.
That's right.
First time ever.
Yeah,
kind of
crazy.
Right.
Well, you put so much effort into that special tag that you had, and you got the most out of that experience and killed the biggest bull in there. So you had a successful season.
And that was the priority.
Exactly.
Is really just squeezing all the blood out of the turnip that you can. Just because you wait for X amount of years to draw a tag, and you want it to be this experience that you build in your mind. And as long as it's a realistic expectation, I was able to meet it just by 12 days of just elk hunting in epic country. So that's what I was shooting for.
Yeah, I line up quite a few of these hunts nowadays, but and I do run a very high success rate in them, of killing good bucks and good bulls. But in the same breath, I'm almost trying to push myself to find the biggest animals in the unit. And for me, like last season, late season, even elk season, I said, well, I just want to kill one good bull, and I happened to kill 2 of them. It just came together. But I know my late season bucks, I had a couple different hunts, but I just told myself, I just want to kill one really good late season buck. And if I can do that, the season is a success. And so, there was a hunt that I didn't fill out last year on late season buck, but I kind of think of it as all a late season hunt where I hunted that one, didn't quite come together. We got my dad a buck. He was rifle hunting. And then, and then I ended up killing a great buck, but I had over 20 days of late season hunting to kill that buck, multiple different trips to multiple different states, but then, killed that great heavy older buck that I was really happy with. And so my late season was a success. And it's kind of the way I look at it nowadays. Like, I don't need to fill out on every hunt or just kill a decent buck or a decent bull. Like, I love to bow hunt. I love making plays and stalks. But in the same breath, it's like I've been really fortunate with harvesting some really good animals, and I'm just kind of trying to get the most out of myself and the most out of the country I'm hunting. So I'm okay with it. And like your season last year, you're definitely okay with it. You harvested a giant bull.
Yeah. It's just perspective, right? That's all it is, and being grounded in reality and grounded in, why are we out here doing this? Like digging way deep, like why are we out here doing this? And yeah, we all have like personal goals, right? On maybe size or age of an animal. And for me, like, and I know if I can speak for you too, like score doesn't really, dictate how cool a bull is or how big a bull is. Like, yeah, it's a numerical factor that you can, focus on, but ultimately we're after those old mature animals, and whether that's, you know, a 160-inch heavy, maybe short forked mule deer, heck yeah, that's awesome. And maybe sometimes it's a 190 plus, long tine. He's got the genetics and they're the same age, but those older bucks or those older bulls, that's what gets us wound up.
I love age class.
Yeah.
That buck I killed in the high country last year was 174, and he was a 3-point. But he's so bladed and heavy and old, and just this giant body, and has lived years in the mountains. And to me, I couldn't have killed a better buck on that hunt. Like that is the buck that lit my heart on fire. That's the one that I wanted, you know. And so like super happy with that deer. So yeah, you're right. Like score is not everything.
We talk about it. Yeah. We do, but
it's a way to reference something that you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The listeners understand what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm talking about. And I do score every animal, not because I'm so infatuated with it. I mean, I just want to know what they are, so I can field judge better, so I can be better in the field to know it. But really, I mean, and score will disappoint you too. Like the score, it's never quite what you want on animals. Like you kill them, and I'm a pretty good judge of animals, but inches don't lie, and sometimes you shoot a really good animal and he just doesn't stack up to the inches that you thought he was, but in the same breath, that doesn't make me disappointed or anything. It's just like, oh man, he's 5 inches smaller than I thought, or 5 inches bigger than I thought sometimes. I killed a buck once with a 27-inch ear-to-ear spread, and I killed that buck and I thought he was a 170-inch buck, and he ended up 192.
Whoa.
So that was one that grew. As I walked up to him, he was so heavy, and he had a couple kickers, and I knew it. And if I'm being honest with you, Dan, I passed that buck like on the second day.
No way.
It was wild. I passed him. I saw he was just a good 4-point, good buck, and he was in velvet. He actually rubbed the velvet right by camp, and I found the velvet like over top a tree, like draped, like shreds of his velvet. I took a photo of it, and he had shed his velvet. And then I found him. It was the last evening of the hunt, and I found him, and I'm like, man, that's a pretty good buck. I went over and killed him, and when I walked up to that buck, he was 20 inches bigger than I thought. Yeah, and 20 inches, you know, like 10% bigger than I thought. But he had a 27-inch ear-to-ear spread, and still, I got that buck mounted. And still his ear spread. He just has the biggest ears and the biggest donkey head I have ever seen. And body size and head size makes a real difference on bucks and bulls. Like some of those giant bulls can have tremendous bodies that makes their racks almost look smaller. But yeah, that's one of the bucks that grew as I walked up.
And that's rare too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, ground growage, I call it, you know.
Yeah.
And the same thing last year with this bull that I killed. I recognized him because there were a few guys around. I actually had pictures of that bull that I killed from buddies that had seen him in the summer and seen him hard-horned. And so I knew his look. And, you know, they're like, oh, yeah, he's 390. And that's a big bull, you know, man, 390. And when the morning that I saw him and ended up killing him, I just glanced and I was like, that's that bull. And I don't care what he scores. Like I knew it was a shooter, you know. And, you know, I walked up to him after it was all said and done. And, yeah, ground shrinkage. And he ended up being 375, which I'm not complaining. But it just goes to show you based on, like, body size and, like, angles of photos. It like, some angles make a bull or a buck look huge, way bigger than he is. And other photos – the opposite. You can make a 390 bull look 330 on, you know, a camera taking a picture if you're taking pictures of the wrong angles of that animal. And so, yeah, it's very deceiving, but, you know, you chalk it up to, you know, obviously I'm not disappointed.
No.
But yeah, it's just funny how it works. You can be surprised sometimes, like in your case, you can have ground shrinkage, which is more common, I feel like.
It is, yeah.
And like, Hubert out front, that velvet buck, I thought he was like 170 or something. Like I didn't even like study him when I killed him. Or no, I said 190 in the video. That's what I said. I'm like, oh, he's probably like 190 because he was just big and it was a 3x4. But then you start measuring up a couple non-typical points and then, yeah, 210.
3x4s don't normally go 210.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't even think. I kind of look at animals and judge them off their look and kind of know, there's a number that sticks, but we're not always right, even for years of field judging. And basically, it's just finding something you're happy with. And then the score is meaningless after that. It's
Yep.
just a number that you can put to that animal of how many inches. But there's a lot of great big bucks that don't score that good, that are
Yeah.
absolutely lifetime bucks that I'd be thrilled with no matter what they score, and yeah, elk, it's like frame size and look, and I try to look at tine length and things. I look at the beams, and I've just held enough shed horns. I've held enough bulls. I've seen enough bulls where my numbers are pretty close, but the numbers are so elevated on bulls, like you're talking 300 and some inches, that it's pretty easy to be off by 10, 20 inches, even 30 inches on a bull.
Yeah.
That can happen. And you were 15 inches off on that bull last year, which was no big deal. You're thrilled with him. And he's
Yeah,
an absolute
I didn't even
giant.
care. Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that it's tough. And as animals get really big and you see fewer of them, they get tough to judge. As I start seeing bucks that are 210, 220, 230, 240 in that range, like I don't even know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen enough of them or put enough tapes on enough of those big bucks with those extras. But I do bucks a little bit different than bulls. Bulls has just been an experience and seeing enough 6 points that I can kind of recognize what that horn looks like and what he scores, and I put a number to him. In bucks, I do the same, but I almost use a little math on bucks. So I figure ear spread, I usually go with about 22 inches, 20 inches, somewhere in there, tip-to-tip spread on the ears, depending on where I'm hunting. Some of the big mountain deer can be 22, 24. Some of the prairie deer can be 18 to 20 inches on the deer spread, but usually 20 is a pretty good deer spread. And then I figure from the base of the ear to the tip of the ear is 8 inches. And then I've scored enough deer that I can kind of look at them, and I know what main beams are, but I can kind of almost double over that ear on the main beam to say, oh, that buck's got a 25-inch main beam, or oh, that buck's a little short, I think he's got a 20-inch main beam, and I start adding up one side. So, okay, 25-inch main beam. Okay, that back tine looks like about double an ear, and I just know that a really big buck is going to be, 16 inches or 20 inches is a huge G2, and so then I throw that number in. Okay, 25 plus 20, 45. Okay, the split up there looks like 10 inches, 55. The front looks like 10 inches, 65. If they're really heavy, they'll have 20 inches of mass. If they're average, they'll be 16 to 18, and so I can throw that. Okay, 20 inches. Okay, 85. Oh, he's got eye guards. Typical eye guard is 3 inches. Okay, 89. Okay, well now I can double that, and I can go, okay, 178. And then you got to take the spread in between the tips of the horn. So even though his spread might be 30 inches, you're only going to get 26 for a score in there, So then you throw the 26 on top, and I'm like, okay, that's a 195-inch deer. So I'll do a little math on mule deer a lot of times, but I can still be way off, You can still be off on that, but I kind of use that as a gauge to kind of like just put a number to a deer. What do you do when you're field judging elk, when you're field judging deer? How do you go about it?
Yeah, it's the same thing. And the first thing that I try to take in is the body size and the frame size of the animal. And it helps if you have other animals to compare him to, because like you were saying, like on a buck, if he's by himself and you walk up to him, he's got a big old donkey head and ears, it'd be this giant body animal. And I've seen it with elk too. And it'll blow you out of the water. Like you said, you're not even close. You underscore him. And then other times, Mike Eastman, he used to tell this story when he was down there with some of the hunt winners on the Hill Ranch, and they saw this bull that was really well put together, and he was by himself, and they ended up killing him, and they were like, yeah, that's a 350 bull. And they walked up to him, and they're like, this is a dwarf elk. And it was like, 320s. And so it's easy to get fooled by body size. So that's the first thing that I look at. And that's why I love with, early season deer hunting, you have like usually a few bucks, a bachelor group of bucks to look at and be like, okay, this is a 3-point, this is a younger deer. And then this buck I'm looking at over here is like a huge body compared to him. So you're dealing with a good animal at this point. And then you're looking at the frame. And with elk, it's the same way. If you look at a bull elk and it has a cartoonish looking frame, kind of like you were telling me about your 50+ inch bull with 60-inch beams. Like a frame like that, it doesn't look real because you just don't see many with that big of a frame. And so if I see something that's like jaw-dropping frame compared to his body and compared to the other elk, as long as like he's complete and he has like solid tines all the way up, he's probably 350. But if he doesn't have any outstanding features, maybe he's got some short tines, he's going to be smaller than that. But that's the kind of the first thing I look at. And so if, you don't see too many bulls that have, or bucks that have these massive frames anyway. And so then you have to break them down a little bit for sure. And there's always bucks or bulls that'll fool you. They'll have these tight little frames, 32-inch inside spread, but all their tines, like on a bull, 22 plus, and before you know it, you have a 390 bull because he has all these long tines. And so they're built so wildly different. And so that's one thing that's helped me, is not only just hunting over a long duration and then scoring animals and taking measurements, and then I do digiscoping and looking at animals, and I know that like most mature bulls that I've harvested, a royal, like a solid royal, is 20 inches. So I can be like, yeah, that's a 20-inch royal. I mean, look at that royal. I've seen it 1,000 times and hold many a bulls with 20-inch royals. And so then you're like, okay, so that's 20 in his back end. There, his fifth is, just by looking at it, maybe it's 13. Usually a fifth is shorter on most bulls. Like a long fifth would be 15 plus, like on this bull from last year. And then everything up front, I mean, just by looking at them, and here it is, there's two different ways of doing it. You kind of had your engineering breakdown where you're actually numerically bracketing, that's the word I was looking for, an animal numerically. And that's one good way to do it. And the other way to do it is just by looking at enough, scoring enough by hand, and just being like, yeah, that's a 340 class, or that's a 350 class. And other than that, I don't care about anything else. If it's a shooter or it's not, by looking at it. Let's ground check them and get the exact. But like a 340 class, I think that's what's valuable or more important, especially like, and the guiding realm is a little bit different, right? Because you get guys that are like, oh, I want a 350 bull. Or, oh, I want a 340 bull, or that's my goal, or this and that. And so you're like, okay, so you're using this numerical goal to find a client, that size of an animal. And so that's where it probably comes into more play. Because for me personally, I'm not like going out there and being like, oh yeah, he's going to score this amount. Like when I'm looking at bulls, I'm like, that's a shooter or it's not. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's the way I work.
Yeah. And so just by looking at a bull, if he's got a decent frame, you look at his body and, his frame is good. Maybe it doesn't look too big. It maybe doesn't look too small. If it's like really small, it'll just look goofy. But if he has like a decent frame and he's got like all his points, and especially his front 3 points that, they go out and they curl up and they're ivory points and they're pointing towards the sky, you're like, he's got good fronts. If those points are like pointing towards the sky, because like so many of younger bulls, or maybe bulls with maybe it's a Yellowstone genetic that guys talk about, that the fronts are like on younger bulls, they just kind of come out and there's not much like curl or hook to them, and that's mostly what you see, right? And
thirds are a good tell on bulls too.
Yeah, and yeah, that's another thing. If you see a bull and he has everything, and he's got prominent thirds, like he's probably going to score much better. And it's crazy because it doesn't take much between like a 340 and 350. It's just a couple inches on every tine, and you go from 340 to 370 pretty quick. And so that's where those curls or those skyward pointing tines make a difference.
That's right.
A big difference. And you look at a bull, if he has straight tines, short thirds, he's got a decent frame, it's probably a 300-inch bull. He's not going to score great. Mm-hmm. And so those are the tough ones when there's not like an outstanding feature. Maybe he's, like you said, a cartoon character width on him, or insane 24-inch royals, which I've never seen. I think the biggest I've seen personally was 22 3/4 on a royal, which is a long royal. Yeah. But
I saw a 24 that a buddy killed. Wow. It was just incredible.
Wow. And they exist, and they're rare, just like 60-inch beams. They're out there, but it's rare.
Really rare. Yeah,
it's rare.
None of my bulls have that.
Yeah, me neither.
20-inch is a good mark. I like what you said about that.
Yeah, that's like a big
20-inch royal.
Yeah.
And there's a look of a buck and bull that
Yep.
will just make him a shooter to me, like we were talking about, like a big back end on a bull, just like that'll get him killed with me. I love a big royal, big 4-5, like paralleling 5 that's as high as the 4 that comes back. I love big 3s, like outside the rack. Like sometimes I'll just see that, and then score is irrelevant. That is just a shooter to me.
Yeah.
And with bucks, it's like a big back end, and it doesn't bother me if he's a 3x4. It doesn't bother me if he's a 3-point. If he's got that big, tall back end that looks muley to me, like that'll get him killed as well. Like in mass really makes the buck and bull. Like mass is one of the most important features to me and one of the toughest things to judge, but it's a great show of age for those animals, and so mass will get a lot of animals killed for me, even if he doesn't have the biggest forks. If he's old and has mass, it's like I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the look, and mass can hide a lot of inches too.
It sure can.
And so, yeah, that's a good thing. We like ground growage, like we were talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all personal preference. And like we were talking to with bulls, we have certain looks that we like, and you know, I hate busted up stuff.
Oh, I hate busted bulls and bucks.
And like antelope that have busted prongs, not interested. Just don't even.
Nope,
I don't like
neither.
if it's not something I like to look at. Like ultimately, that's why I think about too. I was out there last year, 2 years ago, hunting Idaho, and I was like, okay, do I need to kill something just to kill something, or am I going to look at that buck or bull or whatever I'm hunting and be like, man, that thing looks good. And if animals that are not super easy on the eyes for me, they end up in the shed or in the garage, and they don't get appreciated like, you know, an animal should if you're going to take its life. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so, yes, there's multiple other reasons to harvest an animal other than just how his antlers look. I mean, maybe I'm sounding like a snob, but you're providing meat for your family, or the bull was 6 yards from you, and it's more about the experience, right? I don't care what that buck or bull is configured antler-wise. The experience, that's what fires us up. That's what really, you know, that's why we do it.
100%.
Yeah, and so, we have our looks that we like, but it's not something that we're dwelling on, I guess I should say. But if I have anything to say about it, I would prefer not to shoot a bull with a busted beam or an antelope with a busted prong.
I sure should, because I say that age is the only thing that matters. Like, I want an old animal.
Yeah.
I should be okay with shooting a busted buck or bull, but to me, that's the biggest shame for some reason, is I hate them when they're busted like that.
Yeah.
And not that you shouldn't harvest those animals, or, you know, if that animal makes you happy and he's a big older animal, that's great. And the other thing is, a lot of people like to shoot freaks. You were talking about droopy antelope, and you want to shoot one of those. To me, they do nothing. Freaks do nothing. I will not shoot a smaller animal because he's a freak or abnormal. Heck, I had a double sticker buck a couple years ago, and I shot the other one because he was older, you know, and let that double sticker buck live on and pass on his genetics. He just wasn't old enough or big enough for me, like, to be able to shoot him. So for me, like, freak animals just don't do it for me. But for other guys, they love freak animals, and that's what they're shooting for, and that's what lights their soul on fire, and so good for them. But, I guess we all just have our personal preference. And like you say, maybe being a bit snobby, but I just think we're talking perfect world and what really excites us. And really, the ultimate goal is to arrow an animal and be really happy and proud of the animal that you harvested. And score is irrelevant. Doesn't have to be a 200-inch deer for me to be happy with them. You know, it's just a big mature deer that I like the look of them, that I'm happy with, that's an older age class. Then I am really happy with that hunt. And a lot of it, you're right, has to do with the experience and where you killed them at, and has to do with the encounter that you had. And so, yeah, there's times. I mean, I love hunting the Badlands and prairie mule deer. They don't get as big as mountain mule deer. They just don't. I've killed a lot of older deer that are 160-inch deer that I'm really excited to go kill. They've got a good look to them. They're a big prairie mule deer. They're masters of their habitat. And those deer that are 5-6 years old, they don't know they have 160 rack on their horns. On their head. They just know that they want to survive. And they're really tough. They're really crafty and masters of their environment. And I'm really happy to kill a buck like that, and thrilled to death and really proud of that deer. Does he score 200? No. But do I care? No.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important too, is realistic expectations for your hunt, for your unit, because we go on hunts every year. It's a general tag, and maybe or it's an area that has high tag allocations, and it's managed for opportunity and not quality. We go on hunts like that all the time, and you're, a nice 6-point or a nice 4x4 mule deer, that's what you would expect, and that's what I'm happy to harvest because that's what that unit has to offer. And those are great hunts. I enjoy those just as much as anywhere. If you draw a tag or whatever, or maybe you have a higher expectation for age or size, but you still have to factor in, okay, what is this unit, what's this area's management plan that's in place? So now I have a realistic expectation what to expect and what I should harvest.
I love to bow hunt. So if you tell me that's all I can bow hunt for the rest of my life, that I'm never going to kill another giant deer in the aspect of like inches or whatever, I'm fine with it, man. I love to bow hunt. I love wild country. I love challenging myself. I love older age class animals. And so I'll do that and be happy till the day I die, and so I'm fine with that. But you're right. Like, there's different expectations depending on different hunts. I've got a really good early season deer tag that's going to take a tremendous deer to get me excited. I mean, not going to have to break the world record, but it's going to have to be a big older age class deer that I'm really happy with, and I'm okay eating that tag if I don't kill him because I know the opportunity and possibilities there. But then I have another late season hunt where I'm hunting prairie mule deer where, if I see a good mature 165 inch deer and he's older and has a big body, like, I'm going to try to do everything possible to go arrow that buck. So it is expectations on the hunt you're going on and what makes you happy. And I think that's what matters in the end. Yeah,
absolutely. Just not getting focused or caught up in one little thing. I mean, it's a big picture thing. And that's the beautiful thing with hunting is there's so many benefits, in the big picture of not only of just personal improvement, self-improvement, character building, patience building. There's all these things that you can go down. So we're talking about such a small area of, nitpicking and what an animal looks like or, where we're hunting. And so, ultimately it's about the lifestyle. It's about personally growing as hunters and as fathers and husbands. And that's why we do it ultimately.
Well, not everybody has the time we do. Not everybody has, the skill set or the experience. And, you'll see guys that shoot an animal and go, it's just a small one or whatever. But, it's everything's a stepping stone and everything's an experience. And you just be happy with anything and don't feel like you have to apologize to social media because you killed a deer that's less than 180 inches. Like, that isn't the game either, It's be proud of your harvest, and it's nutrient-dense protein that you get to feed your family, and you had this quality adventure in the mountains, and you're building your skills and growing as a hunter. And, I think all of these goals, they're self-imposed of what makes you happy and what you're looking for, but you don't have to apologize for harvesting an animal. Like, all animals are really tough with a bow and arrow, and that goes for, a cow elk or a bull elk or a 5-point or a 6-point. And so, and we're all at different levels. Me and you have committed our lifetime to doing this, 20, 25 years. Like, we're getting up there, but we, it's so many days in a field per year that, we're able to set pretty lofty goals and able to have a good chance to accomplish it. But not everybody is in that place in their journey. So just realize where you're at in your own journey and be happy with your experience, unapologetic, and, enjoy it. Like, we're the fortunate ones that have the free time and the means to be able to go on these adventures that excite us, the anticipation, the cutting our legs loose in the mountains, trying to stalk in close. Like, don't belittle the experience because he isn't as big as somebody else's animal that they killed. Like, find your reasons for doing it and then enjoy it along the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I used to do that a little bit. I'd be like, he's not the biggest one out there that I saw, but we got a good one. And it's like, why even say that? Mm-hmm. And because not only you're taking away from that animal, you're taking away from yourself and the experience. And it's like shooting yourself in the foot a little bit and the experience in the foot. And it's like, why? And so I was able to, like, what exactly you just described of like step back a little bit and be like, okay, this is, why am I out here? Why am I'm doing this? Just because I didn't kill the biggest one on the mountain or whatever doesn't mean that this wasn't a fulfilling experience or that I have to apologize to anybody. And so, yeah, that's one thing I've corrected as well in over the years, is because, there's no apology. We're all out here growing as hunters, growing as individuals, and you don't always get the biggest bull or the biggest buck. That's hunting. That's hunting. You don't even always get an animal. So, yeah, that's good thing. Good reminders for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think self-reflection and self-evaluation is important, and you can get caught in these wrong thought patterns in hunting, and then multiple different, wrong thought patterns of jealousy or of judging other people, and you just have to be careful with that as well. So I think it's really mature that you're able to realize that and self-correct. And I know for me, last season, the season before that, the season before that, the season before that, I am thrilled to death with every animal I harvested. And even if somebody harvests bigger, even if somebody, it's like you can wipe the smile off my face with a 2x4. Like, I am happy and I'm proud at the work I put in. I'm proud at my skill sets and really proud at the animals that I harvested. And I try not to get caught up in that. But yeah, I mean, I've had the wrong thought patterns throughout life as well that I have to correct. And two, you have to be careful. I know I killed a late season buck last year. I was thrilled to death with it. I just really happy at the effort I put in, the buck I harvested. And you get some comments here and there like, oh, I saw him pass that buck. And it's like, oh, you did? Oh, well, good on you. You're looking for something different. Like, this buck made me really happy. I was thrilled with him. Who knows if it's just comments to cut you down? Who knows if they really passed it? Who knows what's going on? But I just don't put too much weight into it. It's like, ultimately, I have to be happy with myself and my own endeavors and what I'm doing. And I'm thrilled. I am living my best life. Like, I am really happy with where I'm at, what I get to do, the adventures I get to go on. Like, I'm really happy with my life I've built, with the animals that I harvest, and I just kind of know when it's right when I'm out there. When I'm on a hunt, I know when he's a shooter and when he's not, and know when I'm going to be thrilled. And I've also passed some really good animals in recent years, that years prior I would have been happy with, but it's like, nah, I keep hunting. I'm going to look for something else, and if I don't fill out, I'm happy with that as well, But I like challenging myself and giving my all, but yeah, I think it's just important not to get caught in these negative thought patterns or jealousy or I know, and it's tough. Like, you see a lot of great animals on social media. You see a lot of great, your buddies harvest a lot of great animals, and it's a perspective change where it's not this famine mentality where it's not. I just try to be happy with everybody in their harvest, and I just don't get that jealousy as much anymore. Like, I'm like, man, they work for it. They killed a great animal. Good for them, Like, there's more out there. I'll find another one. But you can get caught in these negative thought patterns, too, where you're almost jealous or don't want to see that or don't want good for other people. And I think as you grow in life, you kind of correct that and go, you know what, this isn't making me happy being jealous of everybody or thinking that I'm the best or should kill the biggest stuff out there. Like, instead, I'm going to be happy for them, happy for their effort. Man, I can't believe they killed that with a bow. Good on them, It's like, I can't, it almost like I have an appreciation for it because I know how difficult it is out there and I know how much work it takes. And even if somebody gets lucky, it's like, man, they capitalized on this opportunity and killed this great animal. And so it's just the way I look at the world and the hunting community, where I'm happy for guys when they kill big stuff. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my feelings to look at it. It doesn't make me feel like lesser of a man to see somebody that's killing great stuff. If anything, it inspires me.
Yeah, and then that's what it should be. It should be inspiration, and it should be, a little bit of, like, man, there are some older age class animals out there.
Yes.
Like, and set sights higher for yourself and be like, this is achievable. It should be inspirational. And I think if it's not and it's taking you down a negative path, that's when you need to stop and reset and be like, okay, I need to change something because it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, that was That's a big rabbit trail we went down that we didn't plan on for today's podcast. It's like we said before we started the podcast. Basically, me and you can just get talking bow hunting, and something will come out of it, or some good insight. So yeah, I think that's all good stuff. But coming into season, man, I couldn't be more fired up to go get after it. I think. It's important to get your mind right this time of year. And I'm working a lot on my mindset and frame of mind this time of year, as I know it's going to be difficult, and I know I'm going to have these challenges or even setbacks or even lows on my hunt. I'm trying to prepare myself for it and get ready for those, and really keep up and give it my best throughout season, because it can get difficult out there, and everybody's journey is different. Me and you have a bunch of back-to-back hunts where we're going to be hunting a lot of days, and it's going to be a grind, and we're going to have difficult hunts. So I find myself this time of year, like, not only getting my body ready, getting my gear ready, but just getting my mind right for the this next level effort that I'm going to be putting in throughout the season. What are you thinking about this time of year? Are you thinking about logistics? Do you think about your mindset and being tough as you're coming into these seasons, or the challenges you're going to face, or where's your mind at right now?
Yeah, with a busy fall season, and I know that, it's taxing on the family, and I got to get my work done here in the office ahead of time. So I'm kind of playing catch up, or get ahead, I guess, this summer with everything, and what you've talked about so much too in the past, of just the concerted effort with the family, and knowing that fall's coming, and spending quality time with the kids and my wife Eva, and just making sure that I'm there, and we're just making memories, because it goes so fast, and fall's long, and I'm gone a fair amount in the fall, and like I said, it's taxing on everyone. And so knowing it's coming, it's much easier, right? I mean, we've been doing this a while, and Eva knows that, my wife Eva, that falls are long, and I am going to be gone a lot, and so it's easier now. Every year gets a little easier, I would say, and so it's just a matter of staying on top of things, and making sure everybody's good. And so I'm thinking about that, knowing that I've put in the work in the past and other hunts, and physically I've got to pay attention to that this summer, to make sure I'm in shape for what the hunts I'm coming up on. And
you look in ripping shape, man.
Well, luckily I'm still young enough where I don't have to work too hard to be in shape, and I go on as long as the air quality is good. I'm not sneezing. I get allergies, so I kind of take like parts of the summer off, or like this year I haven't done much cardiovascular wise stuff in the last 3 or 4 weeks because of hay fever and stuff. I just, on wet years, it gets me. But yeah, once August hits and things start drying up, then I start, time to work out the legs a little bit, test them, see what you got, go put a pack on and go hike up a mountain, hike into a lake with the kids, and burn those legs a little bit, and just get them ready, get some elevation. And so yeah, I'm thinking about that. That's kind of on the near distant future here in the next few weeks once we hit August. But like we said on these other ones, I mean, August 15th is going to be here quick. So yeah, you don't want to overlook that at all, the physical fitness portion of it. But yeah, I'm still fortunate and eat relatively clean, where I don't put on, I'm not the guy that puts on a ton of weight. I think I've just, with my metabolism, it's always been pretty high, and usually in the fall I end up losing all that weight. Well, what I have to lose is not very much. I lose it a few pounds, and I'm pretty down to skin and bones by that point from just hiking so much. But yeah, I would just say, like, I know what to expect now, and so I just have this routine, and I know it works, and I know the family is important, and getting stuff done around the house. And I'm already thinking about fall, and like, okay, what do I need to prepare around the house, or clean up, or, trim these trees, or this or that in the summer, because I know in the fall it's going to get neglected a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that.
Yeah,
really.
Those are the logistics. Those are so important. Yeah. So you have so much confidence in your skills, and you've been doing it for so long. Like, like, your body's built for the mountains. You've spent your whole life in the mountains, and you know that your mind's going to be right. You know that you're going to hunt hard. So for you, it's like logistics right now, trying to make sure that you have the time to be able to cut your legs loose. And once you get into the mountains, like that'll all fall into place. Like it's getting that stuff done. And I am doing the same thing. I don't mind working hard. I don't mind yard work, but it is gonna get neglected come fall. Like I'm gonna have weeds and I'm gonna have grass growing tall, and it's like I'm not gonna touch that thing for a few months. So yeah, I'm trying to make it look nice and have a little curb appeal, and it's like trying to like you say, around the house. We all have chores and maintenance we need to do and things we need to get done, and my wife really appreciates like service, like tasks that get done around the house, like taking care of things. That's something that she appreciates. So that's something I can do right now in the summer, is I can work the evenings, or I can work a weekend. I can miss a day of scouting because I know that's important to her, to make sure. Right now I'm battling my dishwasher. I've replaced the sensor twice, the pump, the motherboard, and I may end up buying a new dishwasher. I think I was getting Chinese sensors, and so I ordered a new sensor that was like 2.5 times. It was built by GM. Hopefully that fixes the problem, but we've been hand washing dishes now for about a month, which isn't too bad. You just get in the right routine with it or whatever. But I know I've got to get that damn dishwasher fixed, or I'm not going to be able to hunt at all, Yeah. So that's like some of the things that I'm doing too, and making sure that my work gets done. And I may miss some scouting days, or I may have to miss out. I'm pretty diligent at my workouts and runs and fitting those in. It's really important to me, and so I get that done. And but I know that the most important thing right now is getting work done, making sure my family's happy. And just like you, like my daughter is going into her senior year of high school, and like you, I mean, it's important to spend quality time with your kids. My oldest has moved out, and I have a great relationship with her, but you just once they move out, your family dynamic changes, and you just have this time, and it runs out. So it's really trying to spend quality time with them, And so my youngest daughter is still living at the house for 1 more year, and who knows, maybe 5 more years. But no, she's really driven, and she's independent, and she's going to do great in life. But yeah, it's spending quality time. So I'm taking her senior pictures, and we're not just doing one day. We're doing 4 or 5 shoots. So I'm finding all these beautiful wildflowers and mountains and lakes and backdrops, and then we're going to shoot senior pictures together, and I'm doing that with her, and she's been my fishing buddy, so we've been adventuring together, doing drifts, and we've got her rowing the boat. She rowed me into a nice brown the other day. She gets to hear me like get really excited, which she doesn't hear very often, because I love fly fishing for brown trout, and so she gets to hear that, and see that. And so spending quality time with her, quality time with my wife. We've been doing barbecues and 4th of Julys and dinners. I try to cook like a bunch in the summertime to kind of take stress off my wife as she's busy with her job. So yeah, I'm barbecuing a bunch and cooking food, and I'm just like, I'm in good shape, and I have endurance on my side, and I have good mental toughness. If I'm not using that around the house, what good is it? Yeah. And so I'm trying to be a better than husband and father right now, because I know I'm going to be gone a lot in the fall, and they're going to have to pick up my slack. And just like you, been with my wife now for like 24 years, but just like you, she knows what to expect. I know what to expect coming in, and we're getting in our quality time now, and then during the fall, they know I'm going to be gone and have to pick up slack, and I'm sure I'll have to do things here and there and take care of things, and go watch volleyball and miss a day of hunting here and there, because it's really important to me that I'm a present father and that I'm a present husband. If I get a divorce, my hunting season's going to go way downhill. I mean, not only that, but my quality of life too. And so I want to make sure that I'm a good husband, good father, and also good on the job side. I just know that if I take care of it now, that I'll be able to go. And my dad right now is fishing on the ocean, and he really likes that, and so I'll cover for him now, and then he'll be there for me in the fall. So these logistics are so important, and right now, if you're neglecting it and just sitting on the couch, and if you're not spending that quality time with your family, you're going to pay for it during hunting season. They're not going to be as supportive when you want to be gone for a week at a time.
Yeah, no, that's such a valid point, such good stuff there, and it's not that we're neglecting preparing for season, and that's why we're doing these summer hunts. That's why I hunt in the spring, and so like I still feel sharp, right? I still feel sharp and ready for hunting season. after 2 weeks in New Zealand and then hunting all those axis deer for 12, 13 days in Hawaii, like I know, like my bow's good, my gear's good, like I feel good, like I feel ready, and my equipment's dialed. And so that absolutely can't be overlooked. And, with you headed to go hunting here for sheep in the next couple weeks, you still are keeping all that sharp, but you're also making sure that being a dad is there and strong. And so I think that can, anybody listening to this that has a family especially can take away from that and be like, okay, we're not neglecting the skill set or, our passion, but it's a timing thing. It's, just thinking about what when you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, I got to get tires for Eva's car and change her oil on her car. That's something I take pride in, active service, because I'm a kind of mechanic. I'm a gearhead guy. So it's like, if my wife's car isn't like cherry and something happens when I'm gone and she has to take it to a mechanic or something, that's like my worst nightmare. That's worse than missing a 370 bowl. So I take pride in taking care of vehicles, right? Mechanically.
Yeah.
And so, it's stuff like that you're just making sure all your ducks are in a row. So it's just easier when you're gone. And I think even guys that are taking on daunting tasks of, a backcountry hunt, maybe they're just doing one a year, but it's a big deal. And there's preparation, and you're going to be gone from your family for, 5 to 12 days, who knows? And so even guys that are just getting ready for one hunt, still, this is not only just good, I feel like, family or life advice, but it's important stuff. And if you're not right mentally when you're out there, your hunt will be a failure, or, a best case scenario, you still harvest something, but you're going to have to endure the mental game of, worrying about what you didn't do or didn't get done or neglected your family or kids or whatever at some point, because guess what? When you're out there hunting, you have a lot of time to think, and it's easy to go down a rabbit trail of destruction when you're out hunting. If you fell short somewhere, or, something wrong with work or whatever, it's one of those rare times in your life where time just slows down quite a bit, and all of a sudden you have all this time to think. And so you'll find yourself in a very odd place because it's not normal for everyday life nowadays.
Dude, you're so spot on. Yeah, it can throw you into a death spiral out there, just thinking, and you want to make sure that your ducks are in a row, that you've done everything you can do. And there can still be problems that come up in a hunt, and you don't let it ruin a hunt. Like I can handle challenges, but you're right. If you don't take care of that stuff, or you have shortcomings, there's no hiding from yourself in the backcountry. Like all of a sudden it is front and center and present in your mind that, hey, I am falling short of being a good dad, or I am falling short of taking care of my responsibilities at work, or I am falling short here. And I just can't operate my life that way. I can't be out there and enjoy my hunt when I haven't done the necessary work that I need to do before season, getting things done. I just can't. I can't be like, I am a dirtbag, but I can't be like, I can't be a dirtbag like that where I don't take care of my responsibilities. It's like really important to me that I am a good man, that I am a good husband, father, that I am good at work. And so I have to take all care of all these things. Like it's a necessity, like training, like shooting my bow, like preparing my gear. It is just as important to me. So when I get out there, I can enjoy myself, because you're right. You can throw yourself into a death spiral, not even enjoy this hunt that you've looked forward to all year, because your brain's just spiraling out there. You have all this time to think, and you're thinking of all the things that you should have done or that you could have done. But when you take care of all those things and you can hunt with a free mind, that's when you're dangerous in the woods. And that's where I'm trying to get, is to get everything taken care of where I am dangerous.
That's well said. You having that free mind when you're out there, because you're going to need it. And you're going to need that mental strength in during a hunt, or any backcountry hunt for that matter. You're going to hit these lows. You're going to hit these hurdles that are going to test you beyond what you get tested in everyday life. And if you're not at the peak, at the top of your mental game, it's going to be way harder to have that longevity, to survive another couple days with minimal food because you're on a buck, or maybe you're looking for a wounded buck, or whatever the case may be, to test yourself. And so that's what's really important, when you're out there, because, these hunts, they come along once a year. Hunting season's once a year, right? And there's all this prep of just acquiring a tag as a feat in its own nowadays. And then you spend all this money on your gear and this effort and time on improving your craft and learning, on the deer and elk collective, learning strategy, and all this time that you're investing in this lifestyle. The last thing that you want to do is be about 2 or 3 months post hunt and be like, man, I wish I would have stayed out there a couple more days. I wish I would have tried a little harder. I wish I would have, regrouped and packed back into the unit and hunted another 3 or 4 days. Like, that's the last place you want to be, right? And we've all been there, growing and learning to become a bow hunter and doing these hunts as kids or maybe in your 20s or even 30s. It doesn't matter. It's part of the learning experience, a part of the growing experience is failing and finding out what you're made of.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Man, deep topics today on the podcast. Well, I guess first we talked scoring and animals, but I just never know where these things are going to go. But that is so important and powerful and something that's not talked about enough. Like, we've definitely mentioned it and we've talked about it, but I thought that was just like a great topic for the podcast leading into season. So make sure you get that yard work done. Make sure you get that damn dishwasher fixed. And
get those new tires.
Get those new tires on. That's exactly right. That's like a non-typical hunting advice, but I think that stuff's really important and powerful. So yeah, man, good work. Well, just want to thank a couple sponsors for today's show. Evolution broadheads, you're using them, I'm using them. You convinced me to use them on elk a handful of years ago. I don't know if it's been 2 or 3 seasons, but there's been a lot of bulls die to those broadheads now. So I appreciate it, man. They're just great performing broadheads, and couldn't be happier with the performance of them.
Yeah, shoot them in the soft spot and enjoy short recoveries. It's changed
100%.
my life.
Yeah, I just reviewed footage from a elk hunt last year where he fell in sight, and boy, isn't that a beautiful thing? When you can get an elk to fall in sight, you did something right.
That's a trophy in itself right there.
Yeah, it sure is. So make sure to check out those Evolution broadheads. They have the Jekyll and the Hyde. Dan and I are both using the Hyde now for all animals: elk, deer, antelope. And one of the most asked questions on my social media, and it is about accuracy and where you hit them, but those broadheads do a lot of damage. They give you a lot of they're really forgiving, that if you hit just on the edge of the vitals or even miss the vitals, you still got a good chance to recover that animal. And that's what I love about them. And boy, when you hit them in the middle, they tip over right in sight, which is great. Yep. And then Eberly Stock. So their E-Mod system is amazing. So this is their new packs. They should be out now by the time this podcast comes out. I just did a review today. I've been using them. You've been using them. They've got the E-Mod frame, the Brooks bags, but there's a lot of different bags that'll go on that E-Mod frame. Redesigned hip belt. The shoulders are comfortable. The load lifters get the weight off your shoulders. Hip tighteners get the load close to your back. Just an amazing pack.
Yeah, it's just definitely changed the game in Eberly Stock backpack. It has.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know if that's a thing, but unfortunately the F1 mainframe is not my number one anymore. It's the mod frame and that Brooks bag, because it does everything that a F1 mainframe can do and better. I feel like it's lighter. And so, yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's pretty exciting to see Eberly Stock produce packs just getting better and better. And so if you've been on the fence about upgrading your backpack, this is the time to do it on this frame.
Yep, and that's the pack. Yep. 100%. Well, sounds good, man. Let's keep rolling. We got an afternoon, a couple more meetings, and I'm going to get back to the home front here, but it's always good seeing you, man, and having these good in-depth conversations with the podcast and then the reviews on videos. I don't know how many hours we talked for the last couple days, but I sure enjoy it.
It is fun.
Yep, cool, man. All right.